time to talk about boys. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Very different video from the last. I really wanted to do like a big sister chat. Not that I know anything, I'm not an expertise, but I feel like I've dealt with a lot of shit that most 22-year-olds don't really have to deal with. And I am actually a big sister. I do have a little brother. Not that he's ever asked me for advice on anything, but I asked you all on Instagram what you wanted me to talk about, so I kind of bunched them all together and I'm just gonna give you my brutal, blunt, big sister advice. And hopefully it's somewhat helpful. It mightn't even be. First one that came up a lot was feeling lost in your 20s. I think you're supposed to feel lost in your 20s. I feel like social media and maybe like TV and film has like warped our perceptions of what we're supposed to be doing in our lives at a certain age. You don't have to do anything. I think online we see all these Instagram influencers and they're all talking about buying homes, you know, starting businesses. That's not what a normal 20-something-year-old's life is like. That's not normal. It is the small percentage, and I even recognize myself moving out that I am in the small percentage of people that are actually able to do that, because the cost of living crisis here is absolutely atrocious and I'm so lucky that I'm even able to move out. I know it can be kind of tough because in your 20s, like maybe you went to college, you've graduated your degree, you're like, do I do a master's? Maybe you've done your master's and now you're like, I don't know what I want to do for a career. For the last PR events that I went to, one of the girls that was working for the brand doing the PR had actually studied like modern art in college, but ended up finding her way into the job she actually wanted to do. There is pathways into absolutely everything. You come out of college and you've no clue what to do. You're still young. What are you rushing into? Why not take a year out and travel? You have no responsibilities yet. Take advantage of that. So my advice for feeling lost in your 20s is embrace it. You're supposed to feel lost. You're not supposed to have your shit together. Next one is trust issues and anxious attachment. This video is going to come out before our next podcast episode, but basically the next podcast episode that will be coming out, we had a relationship coach on. We asked her so many questions on healing your attachment style, figuring out what your attachment style is, how coaching and relationship therapy can help couples and help you when going into a new relationship or if you're dealing with a breakup. So I'm not going to dive too deep into this because this coach went so deep into that, and I talked about my own personal experiences, but I am someone that suffers so much with trust and my anxious attachment, and I know where my anxious attachment comes from. Mine has 100% come from the fact that growing up I wasn't that attractive. I wouldn't even say I'm that attractive now, but I'm just more attractive than I was. I developed really late, like didn't get my period until I was like 15. Never really ended up developing at all. Growing up, like when I was like 13, 14, 15, and like all my friends were like kissing loads of boys and like texting loads of boys and getting into those little like, obviously they're only stupid relationships when you're at that age, but I was comparing myself to that all the time and I just felt like I was really behind, and because of that I was so insecure, which created my trust issues, because I was always like, oh, you're just gonna find someone that's like prettier and like has bigger tits than me or whatever stupid thing I was thinking in my head at 14. And I've been like, you know, doing my research, reading, journaling, went to therapy to kind of heal that. I definitely think I'm getting better. I think I'm definitely getting my confidence back. And an anxious attachment can kind of come from abandonment, and I definitely felt like abandoned in like my first breakup, so I think that just triggered it straight from there. I was like, oh my god, they're just gonna leave me straight away. Have to do anything and everything they can to like make sure they stay, but that's not how relationships work. And I think journaling has kind of been one thing that has helped me so much, like during that whole process. So like I can journal when I'm feeling like shit and like my feelings, and then when I look back and I can properly reflect and be like, look how far I've come from this space. How to heal from a heartbreak. I don't know if I'm the person that should be giving this advice. Anybody have any tips? Honestly, my best tip, block, mute, ignore. Don't stay in contact with that person. Don't keep an eye out for that person. Again, we talk about this so much in the next podcast episode that's coming out, so I'm not gonna go on too much. There's nothing worse and nothing that's going to stunt your healing and make you feel more like shit than trying to figure out what they're up to. And as much as you might want to, and as much as you might think it might make you feel better knowing exactly what they're doing, it won't. I've been there. I've stalked all my exes. I'll proudly say that. Proudly. It doesn't help. Realistically, what happens is you know what they're doing. You figured it out already. But realistically, you're looking for that proof because you're hoping you're not right. And then when you find that proof, it just sends you into a spiral. Don't do it. Obviously, every breakup is different. It doesn't necessarily mean that something really bad happened and you hate each other. It might have just run its course. But the best thing you can do for yourself, and the thing that's going to kickstart your healing journey, is to go no contact. Do whatever you can to make sure they're not popping up on your feed. Mute their stories, mute their posts, unfollow. And of course, some people break up and then they end up getting back together, but you can't get back together if you don't give each other the opportunity to miss each other. And after you've gone no contact, you're gonna feel like shit. You're gonna go into a whirlwind. You're gonna get so much anxiety because you are just gonna be like, what are they doing? Who are they with? Who, blah, 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 blah. Who are they following? It's gonna consume you for a little bit. The best thing you can do is not go out and party and drink and do that straight away. Don't do that. Go over to your friend's house, hang out with your friends, go to the cinema, journal. Anything you feel like you want to say to them, write it down in a journal. Start a new series, anything that will distract yourself, but distract you in a healthy way, and it's not where you're relying on some sort of substance. So to sum up, my advice to heal from a breakup is no contact, spend time with your friends and family, journal the shit out of a journal. Relationships will come and go, but your friends are the people who will stick by you and pick up those pieces every single time, and they won't complain about it. So they deserve to have some love poured into them too. Growing out of friendships. Honestly, friendship breakups can be worse than relationship breakups. I personally haven't really had to deal with that. Obviously, I've had friends that have like come and go. I've never grown out of like a really serious friendship, which I'm so lucky for. Like my best friends, I've been friends with them for the last almost 11 years. But I definitely have grown out of friendships, like say my neighbors, like people that live on my street. Like we don't see each other at all anymore because we went to completely different colleges. They're gone off traveling, they're doing completely different jobs. I just don't get to see them, and like that is devastating. As sad as it is, people that you love will come in and out of your life. Some people are only meant to come into your life for a few chapters and then they move on and they go do whatever they need to do for their own book. As long as you try to make that effort to like reach out and check in on them every now and then, wish them a happy birthday, there's never going to be that bad blood between you. And then when you do end up seeing each other again, or you do have the time to see each other, it'll be exactly the same. How to know when a relationship is over, or how to know when to walk away. I think breaking up with someone is almost harder than being broken up with, because the guilt that consumes you, if you're like someone that's super empathetic like myself, the guilt that consumes you for hurting somebody else, even though you know it's best for them and for you as well, is the most horrible thing to deal with. When I broke up with one of my exes, I hated myself. I felt like the biggest bitch in the world. I felt like I was ruining his life. I felt like I was ruining my own life. But there was just too many things that I realized weren't working in the relationship, and they weren't going to change. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough knowing that the person that you once loved and, you know, probably do still have a lot of love for, probably hates you. I think knowing when to walk away is just when you notice patterns, you bring up these issues and those patterns don't change. Or not even that they don't change, that they don't even make an effort to change them, even though they know it would make you so happy. How to find a healthy relationship. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to find a relationship. I think the main things you need to look out for in knowing whether a relationship is going to be healthy or not, and again, I think it kind of comes from a little bit of trial and error, is making sure they're not love bombing you. You know, love bombing is hard, because I would believe you'd fall in love with me in like 3 weeks. Like why wouldn't you? Like I think if you're starting off seeing someone and you're finding yourself really liking them, I think it's important not to spend too much time with them all the time. It's important to give each other space. And again, it's kind of like when you break up and then you might get back together, you need to give each other that space to miss each other, to find out if that's something you actually really like, to make sure that person isn't on top of you all the time. They're not isolating you from your friends and family. That's so important. Not only will that ruin your relationship, but it'll also ruin your friendships. Making sure you have healthy conflict. Again, the next podcast episode kind of goes into healthy conflict, how to deal with conflict depending on your attachment style. So I'll leave that up to the relationship coach in the podcast. When your ex gets a new girlfriend. I'm not gonna lie, lads, this is literally the worst feeling in the fucking world. It actually feels like your heart's being ripped out of your chest. My first boyfriend he broke up with me, I was absolutely devastated. He was like a really good boyfriend. We had a lovely relationship. He's a lovely person. But he got into a relationship fairly quick after we broke up. I think it was only a month or so. But he was also like my first love, my first relationship, first everything. So I was so like, oh my god, like I thought that was the only person for me and I'd never feel like that again. And then when you see them move on so quickly, it can really like diminish your self-esteem and make you feel like, oh shit, like I was just nothing. I was just another girl. I wasn't special enough for him to be upset over me or whatever. This is gonna be so hard to believe, but it honestly kind of helps you moving on. Knowing that they can get with another person that quick, even if it's not like getting into another relationship, but even just getting with someone else that quick after a breakup. As much as it'll kill you and suck the soul out of you for, you know, a few weeks probably, it will kickstart your healing. For me, it was like, I need to stop holding on to this hope that I have that we'll get back together, because he's already gone past that. That's when I finally started, you know, like going out and letting people talk to me, letting people flirt with me, because before that I was like, no, it's my ex is my soulmate and this and that. So as shit as it is, and it's gonna kill you for a while, honestly, kind of helps. Finally is body image, and I have a horrendous body image. I hate my body. I'm horribly insecure, not just about my body, but just like in general. I have these moments where I'm like, oh my god, you're the hottest bitch alive, and then I'm like, ew, who let you out of your cage? But something that I've come to learn, maybe just from being online and like knowing I'm just being perceived all the time, and seeing how people comment on like my friends' social media posts, it does not matter what you look like, you're gonna scrutinize yourself, and other people are gonna scrutinize you too. Nobody is perfect. The hottest people alive are insecure. Beyonce hates her ears. I hate my ears, so like we can relate. But it's like, you'd think someone that is as beautiful and talented as she is wouldn't be insecure, but everybody is. And I've just come to the realization that, yeah, like maybe I could like fix a few of my insecurities with like maybe fillers or some plastic surgery or whatever it is, but I just know deep down that I'm never gonna be completely satisfied with how I look, because nobody ever is. And be proud of the body that you built, the body that your mother birthed. As long as you are healthy, you should be so proud of yourself. Just to embrace what you have. Stop comparing yourself to fake people on social media that are full of fillers and full of filters, because that shit isn't real. Okay, that's it. I don't know if any of that was helpful at all. I'm tomato red right now. I'm literally so warm. Let me know what you all think in the comments, and I'll have a new video coming next week. That's it. Grá mór, gidí gach duine. Love you all, bye!